Alright, I'm back talking about Lost again. This time I'm talking about Lost Season 1, Episode 9, which is Solitary. This is Saeed's first flashback episode. This episode is kind of separated into two storylines, and I think something that Lost does frequently is when like the A storyline is something serious or intense or dangerous going on, usually the B storyline will be something more calm or maybe funny or not so serious. Like I remember when the lockdown happens in the hatch, Locke's pinned underneath the blast door and everything. You cut to the beach and they're all playing cards. And so you see that again with this episode. Obviously Saeed's being captured. He's being interrogated by Rousseau, and then you cut to the B storyline, which is them playing golf. So I guess it's just a little interesting parallel, I guess, or whatever. I don't know, but I suppose you couldn't really have like two intense things going on. You couldn't like force the story in that direction. So it's almost like the B plot of them playing golf is almost just like filler, because you couldn't have the whole episode be just Saeed. You have to have these other people, but then there's really not much for them to do since it's very Saeed heavy, and what he's doing is, it's Solitary. The name of the episode, it's him on his own. But even though the B storyline might be some filler stuff, the A storyline in this it's a very interesting storyline. There's a lot of new stuff that we get introduced to and are set up in here. Especially with introducing Rousseau, you get a lot of that. You start hearing about sickness. She talks about how her team got sick and that's why she had to kill them. She talks about her child, Alex. Mentioned the Black Rock. I think this is probably the first instance of mentioning other people being on this island. The others, as they're known to be called. And it's obviously Saeed gets caught in some trap thing she had laid out, because he found first Saeed finds the wire, which we later learn goes to the Looking Glass station underneath the water. He finds the wire, he follows it inland, it just leads underground. I assume at that point it goes underground, leading to the flame. So, because I think that's what's said when we do finally go to the flame and enter 77. So I think that's how they find the Looking Glass. Possibly, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's how they find up. I think that's how they end up finding the Looking Glass. Because I know they have Juliet there to help them. She tells them, "Oh, it's flooded. You can't go down there." Little does she know, but so he finds the wire, falls into the jungle, then he gets trapped, and then he's captured by Rousseau, who wants to know where Alex is. And then there's one thing here which I guess I didn't pick up the first several times I've seen this, is she almost starts trusting Saeed when Saeed starts referring to Alex as a he. Because, as we know, Alex is Rousseau's daughter, but Saeed starts to refer to Alex as a he, so I guess maybe that in Rousseau's mind is making her trust Saeed a little bit, because, if Saeed wasn't other like she at first believed, another might accidentally refer to Alex as a she instead of a he, and that would tip Rousseau off that they do know that distinction. And we don't even find out this episode that Alex was her daughter. She just says her child. And then I think the next time we see Rousseau, when she's warning them about the others coming and the black smoke and all that, that's when we find out that it was her daughter. So we don't even get that yet. But then obviously there is the stuff about the Black Rock, which we will learn later on when she does come back. So you see a little of you see a little of this stuff in season 1. This nice setting stuff up for later payoffs. Or you had the French transmission. You had the French transmission in the first episode or two, and then now at this point we got to meet Rousseau, and we're learning more about her. And then it's setting up other things, setting up the Black Rock, setting up Alex, setting up the others, setting up the Whispers, which Sayid does finally hear the Whispers towards the end of this episode, so that that furthers on. We finally meet Ethan in this episode. This is Ethan's first episode, I'm pretty sure. Again, I only just recently did Confidence Man. There was a big gap between Confidence Man and, I want to say, House of the Rising Sun, maybe The Moth. I think it was House of the Rising Sun. But anyway, so if we had met Ethan in a previous episode, I'm a little, I'm not completely sure about everything, but I'm pretty sure this is the first episode we meet Ethan. And coincidentally enough, first episode we meet Ethan is also the first episode we start hearing mentionings of other people being on the island. Because as we'll find out in a couple episodes, Ethan wasn't on the plane, he wasn't on the manifest. So, I think maybe Ethan should have found the manifest, and he could have claimed to have been some dead guy, or found some dead guy's wallet and say, "Oh, this is me." Toss the wallet aside, but whatever, Ethan. I'm not here to tell you how to do your job. As for the golf stuff, it was good. It was fine. It was, it's nice to see them happy and enjoying life, I suppose. We get to meet Sullivan, who we'll never see again. This does also, I did say it was filler, but even still, it being filler, it starts to set up the Walt, Michael, Locke, that little dynamic, so to speak, which we'll dive more into later on when we get to Special, which I really don't like any of that stuff, to be honest. I don't like the stuff with Walt and Michael and Locke. I find that stuff extremely annoying. And interestingly enough, thinking about it, this episode does very little to set up the next episode, Raised by Another, which is Claire's first episode. There's very little to set up this episode, besides just introducing Ethan and setting up other people being on this island. So you would watch this episode and you wouldn't think that would be something that you're gonna touch on in the very next episode. They talk about other people being on this island in this episode. In the very next episode, we're gonna find out who one of them is, and Sayid's gonna come back. And so yeah, Raised by Another. Because Claire goes missing and Raised by Another, and they all go after her. Well, I guess him, because they are looking for Ethan. No, I guess they go looking for Claire in the episode following Raised by Another, which I think is a Jack episode. Jack's second episode. That would be... It can't be All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues. I feel like that would be later in the season. I don't know, maybe it is. But anyway, I'm not talking about these episodes. I'm talking about this episode. I don't even know how I got started on this. But anyway. So yeah, we are coming up to more stuff here. Obviously, Claire disappearing, discovery of the hatch, all that, Boone and Locke teaming up, We know how that ends. Doesn't end great. And then I guess we have flashbacks too in this episode, Saeed flashbacks, which I never really care about for Saeed flashbacks. I don't really care for Sun and Jin flashbacks. I care about Saeed flashbacks even less. Because, I don't know. It's just kind of the same stuff. Saeed to me always seems a little mopey. Like, he's always so, like, depressed, kind of, in a way. It's just kind of whatever. But, I mean, really, the flashbacks didn't give us much more than we already knew, because, you know, in earlier episodes, he'd already established that he was part of the Republican Guard, he was a torturer. You know, obviously, the last episode, we show him be a torturer, tortures Sawyer. I guess this episode was just to introduce Nadia a little bit, and to kind of have that parallel between Saeed and Rousseau, them being alone. Obviously, Rousseau had Robert. He's gone now. Saeed had Nadia. Nadia's gone now. But yeah, I don't care about some of these Saeed flashback stuff too much. Saeed's not my favorite character, but it's not like I have a least favorite character. I guess I just like other characters more, I would say, would be the best way to put it. So when you get to Saeed or a Michael episode or a Sun and Jin episode, it's just kind of, whatever. I'd rather be watching characters that I like a little bit more. And I guess this is the good point in Lost before Michael starts becoming really, really annoying, which we're gonna get later on in this season, and then continuing on to season 2. And honestly, the best stuff with Michael is when he comes back in season 4. You know, you got Meet Kevin Johnson and all those other episodes in season 4 that he's back for. That's some of the best stuff with Michael. So, I'm not a big fan of Michael either. Michael would probably be my least favorite character. Just because the stuff with him, Walton Locke, is so annoying. And I'll talk about that more when I get to Special. But for now, I'm going to end it here. And I will see you guys next time.